Hello and welcome once again to another game of Starcraft 2. I'm your host JimRaynor, Master of Justice, Guardian of Peace, Liberator of all those who fight against those who hate good and love evil. And today we are going to a interesting new map, and the name of it has escaped me. I cannot remember the name of this map. It was an oddball map. Is there a way to find out in the menu? No, I don't think so. I think that information's gone forever. But it's a kind of a weird map. We evaluated it and determined that it is a Terran map. High ground, high ground, high ground. Can you see tanks? I can see tanks all over this map. Wonderful. But you know, to be fair, Overlord parking is pretty good on this map. Where's some other Overlord parking areas? So, you know, Colossus could walk up there and be a nuisance, but whatever. Can't always get what you want. Anyway, I am spawning on the lower right as the red Terran player. And my opponent is Mico, spawning on the top left as the pink Zerg, who is pretty in pink. Long distance map, pretty large, so my thinking was just command center before racks, baby. I don't have to worry about anything happening for a while. And because this is a fight night game between me and my goofy bros, decided to go with my Mass Raven build. Usually that fails. Whenever I fight somebody who's a platinum or higher, it fails miserably. But Mico was off racing, I believe he's not a Zerg. I think he mentioned something about that. So I had an edge and thought, why not go ahead and try the Mass Raven build. It's at least going to be entertaining. So there goes my racks, and my scouting SCV is going to go check him out. Not much to see this early in the game, just to make sure he's where I think he was. This is a new map for both of us, so we weren't sure exactly where the spawning locations were. I think I might have queued him up to go down there first. Anyway, he's harassing me. He got a kill off, and I had to pull the SCV making the barracks down here to continue on with the command center, and pulled another SCV off my line to continue with the racks. And my SCV is just kind of chilling out there doing nothing. So the Mass Raven build is one that I have been working on, trying to get as close to perfect as I can. However, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the level that it needs to be. It's modeled after Ketrop, who I often refer to. He's kind of like my hero. He's my hero because none of his builds are standard, and I like that. I get actually very tired of the same old metagame, so whenever you can mix it up, that's a good thing for me. So the command center is up. The way it works is you get your second command center first, and then you get your gases, you get your eBay, and once your barracks is done, then you can tech up to the planetary fortress, which you want on the low ground. There was some discussion in the chat afterwards about why build a planetary as your natural expansion. The reason for that is because this build is you don't really have much of an army to speak of. For the first 10-15 minutes you've got no defense whatsoever, so the only thing you could do really, and if you need to expand, what you do is make that initial expansion, the planetary fortress, to ward off roaches and wings, and then you wrap your base around with missile turrets to ward off the Overlord scouts, mutas, and possible Nidus worms. This particular map, I was second guessing myself. This is a huge area. This is very large. And there's an awful lot of abuse that could go on with a map like this, and I had to invest an awful lot in ringing missile turrets around this main. Didn't want to do that, but I really thought, why not go for the go for the Mass Raven build. My only other option would have been to go with the Mass Marine, Mevac, Marauder type build, which it's fun, but I've done it so many times with these guys that I thought I'd give them a show. How many viewers do we have? Yeah. So his Inkling is he actually didn't build much at first at all. I think he teched straight up to Broodlords and stuff. Got Corruptors on the field pretty early. These guys, do they have speed? Yes. He's not building anything. Now notice his food count, significantly higher than mine, 56 to 39, and that's normal for this style of build. I'm not building structures and pushing out units. All I'm doing is really making sure I get my gases saturated, get my static defenses up, and then get my 5 starports. This should have been building a tech lab, and I decided, well, since I'm not going to use it to build a tech lab, I'll just float it out and get a scout. Best way to find out if you got to deal with mutas is you build a factory and float it out. That's my muta intel gathering device. Because if he's got mutas, he's going to attack it with that. As soon as I see mutas, I double check to make sure my missile turret coverage is sufficient and pump out more Marines. You want to get that upgrade that increases the range of your planetary fortress. Since this is my only line of defense at this point and 2 Marines, you need certainly to invest in that. There goes the factory scout. Now he's got a Spire already good and going right before the 10-minute mark, so Muta's on the way. He's got 1. He certainly has the supply to support that. He has sufficient gas. Just a matter of spawning that larva. He wasn't quite up to snuff on that. You need to be spawning that larva all the time. But then again, he's not primarily a Zerg, so it's very hard to make those larva injects on a regular basis. I know guys that they have a hotkey macro thing they memorize, and they press 3 whatever it is, 3V left click. Alright, so anyway, definitely have to worry about mutas. And I thought, oh great, I'm going to have to make another one of those factories. Making more Marines as the result. And pretty soon you should be seeing just a few more turrets. But I got my first 5 starports up before that factory died. Because once you lose your factory, you can't make any more of those. So that's the priority one, and then turrets. Oh, meantime, my Viking was kind of going around the map searching for overlords to kill. I just queued up a bunch of A moves all over the place. He's going to take care of that guy. Muta's on the field. I'm not really worried about him. I mean, I am worried about him, but they're not gonna bother me. Let's bring this to 2 times. So the Mutas, all they're really doing at this point, they're not harassing. They're just looking for that Viking that is somewhere out and about, creating chaos and mayhem. And that Viking cannot be found. He's looking, but he can't find him. Mico, Suave. Now I spotted these double hatcheries over there with my Viking scout, so let's bring it back down to 1 times speed. Alright, so those guys are checking for a 3rd. I know pretty soon I should have already had a 3rd. Yeah, so I'm already building 4 command centers, and Ketrok usually does 2. I do 3. sometimes 3 planetaries is necessary to ward off a serious Baneling bust / Zergling / Ultralisk / Roach bust. The more planetaries, the more damage. And there goes my Viking, but not before getting 4 Overlord kills. He's got Corruptors on the field, which will be morphed into Broodlings, Broodlisks, Broodlords. So I loaded those guys up. Unfortunately, my Neo Steel upgrade had not completed yet, so I wasn't able to fit 10 SCVs in there, which I would have liked to have done. Could have loaded up a few more on my flight over. So what you do is you just lay down your command centers, and then after that drop a bunch of auto turrets, knowing that you're not going to block your landing command centers. And that'll ward off any initial Zerglings that might be available, but I knew, since he knew that I was going here, that he's likely going to attack this with whatever else he has on the ground. So I doubled up on the auto turrets, and I want to PF these guys and get my gases, and also build a bunch of auto missile turrets to ward off any Mutalisks that may be coming by in the later time of the game. So we've got Mico coming with his Broodlords and his Corruptors. This is pretty much all he needs to beat me, and it's really a matter of time in this build. The advantage that I have is the slow speed of Broodlords. Obviously, I can go across the map a lot quicker than he can and do damage, but I cannot directly engage this force with what I have right now. Army tab says, whoops, where are units? So, his Broodlord arsenal is climbing high. I've got 14 Ravens, 24 Marines, 75 SCVs. That's my army. That's all I got. So once he hits me with that, I mistakenly make that into a PF, waste 150 gas, knowing that it was going to die anyway, and decide I'm going to lose this, and there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm not going to worry about it. Send my Ravens across the map, try to do as much damage as I possibly can, and hope that I can maybe expand over here. This is really my, this is going to be Custer's last stand, right there. I know I'm going to lose pretty much everything. So, my thinking is, now I did research the Hunter-Seeker missile, which interestingly on this map you need a fusion core in order to research. But I never really use them. The reason why I didn't use them is because I didn't really have a need to. And the energy used for the auto turrets were much more advantageous for me, because the auto turrets will kill buildings, the Hunter Seekers will only kill units, and whereas the auto turrets will also kill units, I'd opted to use them instead. There was a little bit of discussion, shall I say, in a chat about why I didn't use Hunter Seeker missiles. That's why. Didn't really have the opportunity. I mean, there was only one time you'll see where these Corruptors were trying to engage my Raven force, but what I found is if I'm in his base, drop the auto turrets, run through them, run away from the Corruptors, so the Corruptors have to go through the turrets to get to my Ravens, and they'll die in the process. In the meantime, of course, I have some Ravens to deal with them as well. Now, he's got roaches as well, so he's going to want to definitely do as much damage as he can to my main. But unfortunately, I'm doing so much damage to his stuff, and there's really not much left he can do. I tried to grab as many SCVs as I could and relocate them to my last final stand over there, but he killed most of them on their way. Now he's got all these drones that are just standing around idle. This is going to be his last base. he's down to 0 bases. He's got 0 right now. He can't spawn larva. He can't make any more, get any more minerals. And in the meantime, my ravens are taking care of his supply count, which is dwindling down to 118, and he can't even build anything. He does have a spawning pool, which will fall, but no supply capacity to build anything more. So it's really just a matter of letting my auto turret, or my missile turrets, destroying his corruptors, which he senselessly flew into them, trying to get my starports. And all he has left to speak of is broodlords. 4 corruptors, which my Vikings can certainly handle. And at this point, I identified his remaining expansion. He has 1 more that's about to grow, but he decides to leave the game thinking it's pretty much a done deal. He did attack this with roaches, which I missed to point out. Planetaries are really good. So that's the way it works. Yeah, absolutely I could have beaten him in the long run. He did have 2 hatcheries building there and 1 hatchery building there. He could have stayed in it for a little bit longer, but I was queuing up my ravens to drop an auto turret on every possible expansion, and I would have found him out sooner or later, and would have brought these guys back down after saturating my gases and continued raven production. So that's how the game won. That was one cheesy build, fun build. Like it. It's good. Appreciate you watching. Don't know why you did. Thanks. Have a nice day. Hasta la vista. And goodbye.